Okay, it should be going. YouTube. Okay. We're good. Okay. So looking at the comp we're running with Sim, we kind of want to take farther away fights than they do because we have Sojourn Sim or Sojourn Sim Orisa, while they have um, Ramattra Sojourn Venture. So if we take fights away from them, they have to walk towards us to even fight. So that's why I'm thinking we would like fight here ish because it's they have to walk towards us a lot more to even start a fight. And so like if they're running either a Ramattra or Orion, we want to just be basically kiting them the entire time with our sim. So BT and Dig will probably be together most of the time, as well as maybe the Brig. And then the Orisa Juno will have to stay together. So actually quite like that TP because we create multiple angles off this entire point. So for Sim, you want to be placing your turrets away from each other. You don't want them grouped up. So like you can place a turret here. You can place another one like here, and you can place one like down here. That way you cover all the entrances into the point, and you know where they are because your turrets don't do very much damage. Like they really don't. So it's mostly used to either disrupt or to know where people are, and so that's why you want to be using them for flank control or map control instead of using it for pure damage. And you'll see a lot of the Sims doing exactly that. They're using their uh, turrets to zone off areas rather than to damage. They could. Like, their Venture could. Their Lucio, probably with the Venture, could go either here or here. In, like, even if it's not just a single or dual off angle, it's still important to know where people are. Like, let's say you're fighting the Ramatra in this choke, and then all of a sudden, when your turrets goes off right here, now you know that there's someone over there, and it's a, and they could potentially be taking a hard off angle. Like randomly, Sojourn gets a full rail and walks from here under into here and has a full railgun. Your turret can just detect that, and you're like, oh, Sojourn has an angle on us. Like stuff simple as that. Even though it's not likely to happen, it still can happen. And while your turret placement here is fine for right now, I think if you started using them to control space rather than for just their damage utility, it'll give you a lot more leeway in setting up more creative plays. And like right here, imagine you had a turret down there instead of all your turrets up here. You would know the venture is coming down here. What happened over here? Okay. So, uh, do we know how to use Sim Shield as a team? The ult. Sorry. Yeah. It's a lot of just splitting their team, and uh, very rarely you'll use it for like for it to actually be a shield. It's more so just to split the team apart. So whether it be completely vertical, a vertical in which it's just it goes through Sim, or whether it be completely horizontal where Sim places it away from herself, it's gonna be used to just cut something off. And so, uh, a really good way to know how to do that is that you just establish where the front line is, where the back line is, and just place it either vertical or behind the front line, and use that pressure to just run down one side of it. How long do y'all stay on Sim? Okay. A little bit too much. It's about here. Yeah, it's good. Again, split them up. How do we have Sim? So, like, here would be a good place to put Sim. Where would you place Sim, BT? Yeah. Yes. Dig. Where would you place it? Like this? Yeah, that's good. I like that. The reason being is that because the point's about to unlock, we want the ability to force them to walk into us. And so, because we want them to walk into us, we need space control. And strongest one of the strongest ults to get space control is Simwall. And so, if we Simwall right now, this Reaper and Kiri cannot play on this side of the point. they have to go over to where the Ramatra and Lucio are, and so they have to expend either both their TPs, or Reaper has to spend their Wraith, and Kiri has to spend their Suzu. And because they have to spend all that resources, you're able to just get this point for free, uh, just because you put a sim wall down. Nope, because look what you have in the back. They can, if they try to push you out, you have double support ults to even get rid of them. I think Orbital can match the Kitsune, and then if we really need to, we can match the rest of them with Rally. But I suspect that we wouldn't need to, because we get so much space off that sim wall. A theoretical sim wall, because we're able to play this entire side and then this back to the point. Well, all they get is just this. Reaper teleports out. So I think because we're playing with Sim, we need to communicate whether how we want to take this fight. Because either we take the fight just by pushing them out with Orbital, or we take the fight by everyone going through the TP and just going to point. And I don't think that was communicated, because you do half of both and neither ends up working out. Okay. Uh, 19. Bud. Let me grab it. Hello. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it was very clearly communicated what we're doing. Obviously, y'all called to go, but to go with the what? Yeah, it wasn't very clearly communicated on what we're doing. Okay, like again, you don't actually have to TP through code. You could just TP across there and out rotate them. Oh my, what is that TP? BT, was that failed TP? Or no? Okay. Oh, yeah. So if that happens, just call off the play. Because going into the middle of their team is not awesome. Especially for the type of team comp we're running, because our backline is considerably more frail than theirs. Yeah. Okay. And like because our team comp wants to play farther away than theirs does, we just need to like find ways to get around them. Which here could have just been like a sim TP from here to here. Everyone TP's there, and they have to walk through our open sight line. Sorry. Here. Yeah, that's completely fine because you can just take this. But we, I think a lot of our problem here was that we're playing close to them when they want to play close, and we're not playing to what our strength is. Is that we're playing farther away than they do, and so we can just kite because this guy needs to be close. This guy needs to be close. This guy needs to be close. Uh, Kitsune or Kiriko's dumb. This person needs to be mostly close. Also, we're just kind of standing in choke. Okay. So I think for Sim, we just kind of don't play to our strengths as a comp. Where like if we're more broad than they are, then we TP on top of them. If we're more pokey than they are, then we TP away from them. And obviously, there's situations where you want to do the opposite, TP on top or TP farther, but you want to play to your strength as a comp, and Sim enables that because you can go to both ends of the extreme. Yeah, it's mostly the tank and the Sim's job to know where those places are to TP to. Um, Mostly the Sim, but also the tank has a lot of input on that since they're the one pathing his team. And like here, if we call that, we know that they're gonna run on us. We can preemptively put a TP in their backline. That way, if Ramattra and Reaper start running at us, we can just TP over to their backline and kill them. Then we switch off sim. Okay. Is there any questions before I continue? BT? No? Dig. Oh, yeah. Yes, Burger? A little bit situational, but you're taking the path where you don't have to be getting like yeah, yeah, most of the time it'll be a high ground, but like if you can start, if you can realize that like main is better if uh they have more brawly comp and they want to play closer to us, but main is really wide open, then yeah, you go ahead and go main because they will end up using more resources than you will, taking the damage from your team. Yeah, and then also being able to control space as Orisa, a lot of it is through your javelin. You're mostly gonna be javelining the either the Reaper or the Iramatra. Okay. Rabbit, do you have any questions? Okay. Cats, do you have any questions? Okay. Let me pull up. All right. Is this another sim review or is it different? Okay. Yes. So we're playing just normal dive. Okay. Dive. Okay. Uh, Rabid, what's your game plan here? Okay. Jump on Curie, jump on Woo. Okay. Sue's not here. Cats, you're filling in for Sue. What's the game plan here? Yes. Mm, you're mostly just gonna be forcing cooldowns with your anti, since they have so many cleanses. You're just gonna be forcing cooldowns because they have Zarya bubble, they have Curie, Suzu, and then they have Wraith, you're not really going to be forcing a kill off um, an aid. You're only going to be forcing the cooldowns that can lead to a kill. And then next is BT and it's not Dig. BT, what's your game plan? Yes. Okay. And then Dig, what's your game plan? If you're here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, what? Sure. You're gonna be playing. You're gonna be a babysitter for these two because they have Genji, they have Reaper. That's fair. Okay. So first side, let's see it. Yes. You're just gonna be keep away with these two, and then obviously clean up the fight as needed. So BT actually so one even though I liked your game plan about keeping these two at bay, Tracer eats Wu Yang and Kiri really badly because you can dodge a lot of their damage, and it makes it really hard for them to hit you if you're constantly harassing them. So, uh, you're gonna be basically just getting chip damage on these two. Whenever possible, obviously. Nice. Kill. Okay. And they switched to Hog here, right? Okay. But so far, you're all doing really well. This because Zarya Reaper is so hard to play into if you're not prepared for it, and you are playing really well. That's huge anti. And like right there, Sue's not here, but as you can see, they just cleansed the entire nade. But what was important is that you got the cooldowns out. It doesn't matter that they cleansed it; you got the cooldowns out, and because they're forcing cooldowns, you don't need to jump in straight away, Rabbit. It just you have to just realize if they hit an anti, it's just forcing cooldowns rather than it's a signal to dive. On this team in particular, yeah, it's more of a signal that hey, you can dive soon. Oh yeah. Okay. They switched to hog. Does it change anything here? You can speak if you need to. Yes. Anyone else? Yes. Who? What? Who was talking? I didn't hear. I didn't see. Yeah, I heard that one. There was someone else that talked. I I was BT. What did you say, BT? Yeah. They because they switched Zarya. Uh, good point. They don't have very many resources for their Genji and Reaper. Obviously, they have Okaring and Pocket from Kiri, but Carrie has to be stuck onto this hog permanently, and Wu Yang's probably just gonna get in by our Tracer. And so, what really matters here is that we land the anti on hog and force Suzu, and then we can hit a strong dive onto their team. Um. Oh yeah. I remember. I told you to switch. Okay. I assume you know why I told you to switch, right, Rapid? Yeah. Literally everything you could eat, and yep, specifically against hog, it's a lot better. Also, really good against Reaper too. Very nice. So one thing I see is that you're taking fights incredibly fast when we realistically don't need to, because they are very resource heavy. Hog has a resource, Fury has cooldowns, Reaper has incredibly long cooldowns, and like a Wu Yang can't really do much if he doesn't have his healing resources. And so we can take these fights a little slower and have our DPS work their backline. Because they're just punishing us on a lot of our dives because they have the resources to punish us. Also, uh, a note for Dig. I'd rather have a Soj. I know. I'd rather have a Sojourn here, in case you were wondering. Okay. I okay. Oh, okay. So I remember cats. I remember you calling this scout. I don't really like it, and I've already given you my reason. Yes. Yeah. It is very, very weak to dives. Very weak. And they have double. Like instead of Diva Zarya? Oh, that's not an era. Zarya. What was the other one? Sorry. Uh, Genji. Why the Juno? Mm-hmm. Hmm. I would rather have Ana Lucio rather than Ana Juno for the speed because of Lucio's aura healing, but also Juno is so frail if they have a tracer in this comp. And granted, we have Ana too. I think Ana Lucia is a little bit more stable than Ana Juno, and the Juno won't get farmed, or I guess the main support wouldn't get farmed. So, uh, I like the Zarya Sojourn Reaper, especially Sojourn into the Hog as well as the Zarya forces the Hog off a lot of angles he wants to take. But Ana, just so the Hog can't really do anything. Lucio, even though he can't play slowly as well as Juno can, I think it's still pretty okay. As well as he's able to pocket the Sojourn and Reaper if they want to do something. Okay. So what if? Hold on, let me think. Yeah, yeah. I guess if there's not a tracer, you can do Juno. I was also thinking Kiri, but I don't really see very many synergies. It could just be a situation where Kiri's just there to fill in a role. Yeah, you can play Lucio, or you can play Kiri. I don't know how Kiri would work. You would probably have to lab it, but I mean, I like the second comp. This first comp feels a little bit more all in to me. I don't really like it too much. Okay. Let me see if I have anything to say on this map. No, I don't really have anything else to say about that one. It's uh just comps against comps that I would rather have differently. Mm, damn. Mm, yeah. It's a classic King to Hill snowball. And then this is oh, I forgot I imported that one. And then this is yeah. Yeah. Uh Burger and BT actually popped off on Havana. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah. This wasn't this one a long one? Oh, yep. By the way, awesome angle setting by everyone here. Tracer Curie, Ball, Ama, Sojourn. I know he's not here, but awesome angle setting. Yeah, as long as you don't get headshotted. That's my caveat. And well, I was just about to say, Tracer Curie is really good here, but we got out of it. Oh, that's another thing. So I actually talked to him after the scrim, and he was saying that y'all should call slam or slam into railguns a lot more because slam railgun are so strong that they can force out either cooldowns or entire kills. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not, I mean, not necessarily. I wanted to show you his perspective on it. He can a soldier can just do that, where he slides in, jumps up, railguns, and then just leaves. Oh, sorry. It yeah. So that's actually something me and him developed on our time, where I was playing tank for a hot minute and he was playing DPS, and we developed. Yes, I played a little bit of ball, a very small amount of ball. But we developed this where if I'm hitting an important cooldown on someone, he's gonna try and hit his rogue gun on the same person, whether it be a slam, a hazard leap, or like a Winston jump. But he's gonna basically almost in for it because if we get the kill, that's a insane amount of tempo to gain. And like you ended up getting the kill, and now we have insane tempo. And like it does come easier with time. Like he can position better in a better position, like he just be up here. And then uh if he's calling out railgun, you can also look where he is and then try and slam someone in his LOS, or you can try to go to where your slam is. It can be like a dance of some sort to do it. Yeah. Also, one thing is BT, you're very quiet when there's three people on you. Uh, I get it, you're doing your mechanics, but also if you see that there's more than one person on you, just say, there's this person. There's name a character on me. That's all you have to say. Yep. Yeah, it's been really unfortunate that Burger got forced out early. Oh, this point's so annoying to spectate. Okay, so cats. When one thing is on it, when you're playing against Freya, uh, I guess Freya and Widow, you want to be basically always quick scoping, never hard scoping. And I assume you know the reason why. They will just kill you. Yeah, they will just kill you if you're not careful. And so that's why you want to be quick scoping a lot more when playing against both Widow and Freya. Okay. You could, if you really need help quick scoping, you just do like on a paintball and just practice it there. Also, love the side by the way. I actually saw this mid game. Very very nice dive. I think if you and BT communicate more on dives overall, you'll be able to do stuff like this a lot more often. Yeah, you're good. Mhm. And then physically for BT, I want you to communicate a little bit more on like where you are and if you're able to follow up on a dive because I've noticed you're a little bit quiet uh, to follow up on stuff like that. Uh, I think somewhat consistently. It's like sometimes you're a little bit louder about it, but then sometimes you're not. It's a little bit of hot and cold. No, there goes I here. uh, I actually drilled Shadow on doing that. Any questions, BT or good? No. Okay. No, we're good. It's a good thing to communicate. Nice. And like as I said, you and BC looks really really good in this map. Hmm. I think we get a little bit overzealous here on taking the fight outside because we're not playing within our honest LOS to anti. Because Ana has to back up here, and y'all just kind of have to dive here without very much resources. Uh, it's hard to say. I don't think so because Freya would have probably just rolled y'all, but like I think y'all should just kited the fight indoors since y'all already had high ground. Yeah, you got your nade off. I saw that. And you hit it again, but it doesn't matter because this fight's already done. Oh wait, do y'all touch? I forget. Oh wait, yeah, no, y'all win this because Sune's right, or Sue doesn't even need to. It that doesn't matter. The Kitsune was yes. I don't really remember. Huh? Okay. Oh. Oh yeah. Here, let me. Okay, is that good? I put it on source. Is the camera compression better? Okay. You just tell me. I just need to put it on source. Right. So instead of nanoing ball, I'd rather nano tracer or sojourn. Mostly because ball doesn't get very much mileage out of nano, since he doesn't have very consistent damage. I don't know if actually I don't know if you did. You're trying to confirm it, and you're like deciding whether to use it. Yeah, whatever. And like again, just be careful of that Freya. He wants you. Massive Suzu, by the way. Another massive Suzu. I don't even think there was any other way to kite there. I'm not gonna lie. One thing I've noticed Sue does a lot is that in last fight scenarios she holds ult, and I don't know why, but we just need to ult a lot more. It's because I called it. Yeah, yeah. I think I spoke up and said Sue ult. Yeah. You don't carry it into next round. Thankfully. Yeah. Also, also want to point out the way we got this point here was very 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 good. So the way this point often goes is that um you go down main, you then need to take high ground as attackers to then push the defenders to about here, and then BT inserted. Oh yeah, they didn't set up here, but either way, usually as attackers you set up here or go through main and then take high ground, and then push the defenders here, and then they have to defend farther back. And so this was played out almost perfectly to uh, absolutely enable that. Then also, again, developing angles, very very nice. And then I think we lose this next fight, or no, 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 no. Y'all don't lose it. It's a very extended fight. That's what it is. So hold on. Let me actually look at this. And Opal again. Yeah. So Sigma just kind of never gets off payload here, and then uh, I don't, I don't know if it's your job. I think it's more so that when you use either ultimates or cooldowns to get them out of there. So like a nade on the Sig or pulse bomb or like a disruptor shot. We need to get the Sig off the payload um to to take these types of fights because like we're doing good on the dives, no doubt. But because Sig's on the payload, we can't advance it anywhere. I think once we get enough pressure, or once we get enough kills, we then just full focus the Sig because obviously you won't be able to kill the Sig if he has his full team. But once we get like a single support kill or DPS or like two DPS kills, then we can start going like, okay, let's go dive the Sig and kill him, get him off this point, or at least damage him enough to where he has to back off. What? Uh, wait, sorry. Say that again, cats. Oh yeah, I was looking at. Shoot better when we started. Okay, when sessions by, is it better to put more ults to win or win the ulticon? So you want to use the ults to win checkpoints. I think that's what you're asking. And so it doesn't really matter how many ults you use as long as you get the checkpoint. Because you always can build more ults, but you can't go backwards on a checkpoint. And that's the saying that I usually hear and I stand by is that it's better to over ult than to under ult a fight. Is it the same in defense? It's a little bit different in defense, but oh, it is the same sentiment where you want to over ult on a fight rather than under ult. Because by under ulting a fight, then you're at a disadvantage for the next one since defender's advantage is not as strong. And actually, do we know what defender's advantage is? Yes. So yeah, defender's advantage is exactly that, where uh, defenders get to choose where to fight, but attackers get to choose when to fight. And so the choosing of where to fight is very, very, very strong on the defender side because of just how powerful positioning is um, in Overwatch. And so if you're able to keep those positions while either while overulting, then it is mostly fine. Obviously, ult economy is a thing. It sucks whenever you don't have ults, but winning a fight with by overulting is so much better than losing a fight because you under ulted because those ults just go to waste. And going back to the Sigma thing, because he overextends here and is just not on the payload, we're able to actually finally get the checkpoint. And you can see that the strength of Sigma is to live, but if he chooses to live in the wrong spot, then he gets punished really, really hard for it. Sorry. What's your reasoning behind going brick here? Is it just the brick one trick? Okay, that's okay. You brawl him, fine with it. They can't really do much against your brig, but against almost any other team that's not specifically against this, I think Brig would get punished really hard. And even here, Brig can get punished too. Jesus Christ, I can't tell what's happening. Yeah. Okay. And then here you switch off Brig and then you go Ana. I know you don't, but that's the actual play you would do. Yeah, we lost this. Yeah, I know. I was also a little frustrated too off that. But I mean, I'll be honest, it's just playing against this comp on this point is so incredibly hard. I don't blame y'all for losing this. Granted, we could do some stuff a little bit differently, but honestly, y'all played really well for what y'all were given. What a boop. Does anyone have questions so far? Since I'm just skimming through the rest of this. Um, it'll just be telling to stay off guard because you're fulfilling basically the role of tracer here, and so that fills tracer up, or that sounds weird. That frees tracer up to actually go and dive with um ball. Yeah, you'll be just trying to sink things fast, and like you could go Lucy here. I know probably it's not your favorite, but you could go Lucy here if you wanted. So to break past this, so okay, playing against this comp to break past this, we need to have a huge ult fight. Since looking at their ults, they're actually not that strong. Because if we can have an ult fight where these two use ult and maybe these two, then we can very likely win. Since Castle is not an actual ult, let's be honest. And so if we run at them with Kitsune, Rally, uh, Overclock, and Mines, I think we can just straight up win a team fight and hold the doors for the rest of the time. And so that's how you would break this, is to have a really, really big team fight against them. And that's also partially why I say you go Lucio here, is to nullify these two ults with the B. But if you're not playing Lucio and you're playing Ana, use Nano Sojourn and just let her go to town. Um, hold on, let me check. Yeah, I think it's a little bit early to do a rally. I think we just wait until we have Kitsune up. So like, Burger does soft dives onto their backline, takes damage, and then goes back to Sue to farm up a Kitsune. And then we just use our large ult economy to push past them. Like here. Oh. Yeah. We just do an overtime push. And one thing is that I really like overtime pushes, specifically because defenders' spawn advantage is completely nullified because of the overtime spawn timers. And so like you can wait until overtime to do this massive push, and then hold the doors while they're staggering out with their massive overtime spawn. Yes. Yeah. Brig holding spawn doors is very, very strong. I'd say have the Curie on point because she can support both sides of this. And then Sojourn could just instead of being on point, just be on the high ground, helping whichever side. But because we try and do a fight too early, we end up not using our entire ult bank that we accumulate. And so like when we're playing against like counter teams, basically, this is basically a counter team to us. We want to have really, really large ult fights that we know we can win, in which having an ult fight with Kitsune, Rogun, Rally, Mines against what they would probably have is what's it called? Tidal, Ebola Shot, Kitsune, and not even Flux. We would absolutely just roll them. And so like we that would also be like comps that want to play a lot slower. So think of your Orisa, think of your Sigma. Sometimes Ramatra wants to play a little bit slower. Those comps do most of the time want to play slower than faster. But also it could be like if you're stuck against a really, really strong like say brawl comp, then you can just overpower them with your ults. Since that's one thing brawl comps are really good at, going into other brawl comps, is cycling ults. So if you're able to cycle ults faster than them or build ults faster than them, then you're able to just overpower them with just an ult advantage. And like that reminds me of this strat that some teams use on Midtown, where they play Ana, Winston, and then they have a Kiri. And all that Winston does is that he stands in main and takes damage for the Ana to build a really, really fast nano. And then they take a fight with Nano Winston because that's their first ult up. Because he's just inting for Nano ult charge. Any questions? Since that's probably the end of this. Yeah, you're free to go. I'm just watching the rest of this. Okay. Hi, Burger. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Um, like for me, or from me, or from the team? Uh, yes. It's really hard to give a general takeaway since there's a lot of very differing stuff. But like as a sim comp, you want to be using your sim TP to take space, whether it be just sim herself or as a team. And then I'm looking at Havana here. I think we want to have a lot more communication. That looks like a very big one for Havana. Communication on dives and ults. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. What's it called? Because the compositions I usually make uh are very pattern based on like what I want in a composition, and so I could show you how I build those and whether you can break that pattern and why. Mm, no, I think that's it. Does anybody else have takeaways that they would like to share? I I've okay. I've had Edsy on an aim trader routine for a little bit. I think that's why he's asking. Lasagna. That's why I answer. It's not scheduled yet. I forgot to respond to him. I'm not gonna lie, but I will respond to him soon. I already bought reviewed NZ. I reviewed his gameplay. I'm gonna probably review him again on my own time. But Dig, if you'd like to also get another VOD review, I'd be down. Okay. Okay. His document is like 20 words long. He didn't really get one. I'm doing that on my own time. No, I'm doing NZ on my own time. You can schedule another one.